So we are headed into game number 1 between TheoRy, who's going to be starting out on the lower left side of the map. He's going to be going up against Mixu here on the upper right, playing as the Vanguard. It is an Infernals versus Vanguard Grand Finals. A best of 7 for Mixu, a best of 5 for TheoRy, who starts with a +1 game advantage, as he is the player from the upper side of the match, of the bracket I mean. So we'll see how well TheoRy's Infernal versus Vanguard is. We have to remember that he did best at Probe in what I believe was a 2-1 series. So it was very close, very tight. Could TheoRy do it again? What sort of strategies is Mixu going to pull here? There is no denying that TheoRy has seen what Mixu is capable of, because he's watched the Hydra versus Mixu series that preceded this one. So he's well aware of all of Mixu's tricks. While at the same time, Mixu must be feeling a little bit lost, as TheoRy's only Vanguard game throughout this entire tournament has been against Probe. So if he read the tapes, if he's been watching all of that content, analyzing it, thinking to himself, what could I do to disrupt TheoRy, the #1 seed in the tournament? Well, he had only one game to go ahead and think through it. As now TheoRy pushes out into the map, get the creeps, and we'll see what happens here. A manual split by the side of TheoRy will result in a well-charged white health for the Fiends. One of the Fiends is going to go and investigate, and he's going to see the mech bay that has gone up here after the barracks. So it is going to be a Hedgehog opening. So Hedgehog now, an expansion going next. And TheoRy's expansion is also going up at the moment. We'll see then what results of this. He sees that the Hedgehog is moving out. Will he reply in some way? The Brood is a little bit out of position and will get cut off by the Hedgehog and the Scouts and harassed back into the base. There's not a lot that he can do about it. He can try to get away with the Fiends, but they'll also take a little chunk of damage from it. The speed camp was conquered, however, and now only 4 more resource camps and vision camps and speed camps remain, with the 2 health camps still squarely secure in each other's bases. Not a lot of action that could be happening there quite yet, but more Hedgehogs are on the way. The resource camp here is gonna get deleted. And a Shadstone Tower also protecting the entry, so it seems like TheoRy is wanting to keep his exits well controlled. He's not even cutting through the middle to get into that third. He might just push into the lower third to feel a little bit safer, but we'll have to see what he decides in the end. The second speed camp then will go down in just a few moments, while the Hedgehogs try to finalize this little health camp, get the Ethereum from it, and now a big push coming for the side of TheoRy. He has a number of Fiends that he could use, but perhaps he won't throw them away quite yet. Or on this side of the Scout, approaching near the Shroudstone Tower. Quite a well-defended place for TheoRy, and just now made the cut through towards the third. He knows that he's going to be well defended, so he's just staying put. The Shroudstone Tower is good enough to keep the Hedgehog and Scouts at bay. He will lose vision over here, but in the end, it is what it is. He'll push on with a Doombringer, going overland and into his opponent's base. It won't get scouted right away. And because he has the second vision camp, he knows that there is nothing quite coming. A Hedgehog now spots the Doombringer. It gets hit a little bit, but it'll trigger a defense for the side of Mixu, who is now having to pull back his units, particularly Hedgehogs, to try and keep this little drop from going wild. And the Bobs are very low health. The Repair-O-Matic is doing a great job here to try and control that, and the overdrive on the Bobs is gonna push all of those guns out, otherwise face death. Hedgehogs deployed as well will be good enough to keep harassing this Doombringer down. The turret is also doing a fantastic job just getting pot shots, keeping the Doombringer at bay and observable at the very least. The Repair-O-Matic now assisting. Middle of the map, the resource camps have been refreshed, and it is the perfect time to get more fiends out into the map. Get your guns a couple of nice little kills. And here comes the Hedgehogs. They will get a kill on the Doombringer. The animation was not quickly enough. And oh my goodness. Losing the Doombringer right on this engagement is not particularly nice. It will mean that Mixu will feel very comfortable now, just expanding right away. He doesn't have to deal with the Doombringer drop for at least the next few minutes. That'll make him very happy, I'm sure. And the Repair-O-Matic still doing a great job keeping everything alive. Second Doombringer has been pulled out and will be walking through as the Hedgehogs make their way forward. They're scouting, trying to find where the army of TheoRy is. Good defensive position here up on the ramp. It's gonna deny a little bit of vision. And here come the gun drops onto the Bob line on the Ethereum. It is gonna be quite fruitful. Gets 4 fiends to spawn. And no defensive structures here. It's just the overdrive, excuse me, to try and keep this under control. But having to use an overdrive with that amount of energy is not always recommended. The guns are getting killed though. This could be very bad. The Infest is going to trigger on a couple of them, and the Doombringer is just going to leave. He's going to leave the guns behind. They're not going to get too many kills, unfortunately. The Weaver gets a pull on one of the Hedgehogs. It's a good pull, and it will result in a kill. This is a defensive position that the more Hedgehogs that appear, the more tenuous it becomes. A new gun drop then. Going forward, it will get spotted but not reacted to by Mixu, who now breaks through the Shroud Stone on the upper side of the map, destroys the one on the lower, and gets the other one. No cancel there to even save the imp or something, or the resources even. A Hedgehog gets a shield up to continue the fight. Now it'll be out for there, and I heard those little imps. They are. An imp drop with inflamed that results in the death of a number of Bobs, it seems. Very annoying to deal with here for Mixu, as he's trying to deny more and more bases. These Hedgehogs could set up themselves to try and deny the Doombringer who was going around, but the Doombringer just came back on its own 2 powers. On its own power. We're going on 3, now 4 bases for TheoRy. Fully expanding out. Mixu at this point would really like to grab a 4th. Most likely the center 4th, as he always likes to do. But he's being repelled little by little, and I believe this might be even more imps. But the body of Hedgehogs is right here. They could deploy and absolutely deny this. The Doombringer will probably go down. The imps have to be sacrificed to get a couple of Hedgehogs, but that Doombringer is dead, and the guns that it was carrying are also dead. Great denial by Mixu here to keep his base, his 3rd base alive. Deny a Doombringer. And now another base going up. That is going to be the 5th for the side of TheoRy. And now the fourth, finally, for Mixu, who really seems to enjoy this diamond shape base system where you have your main, your expansion, your third, and then you connect it all with your fourth. You do, of course, still have the space for this one, which is fairly well protected. But how compressed the diamond shape here is, he loves it. Cutting down the trees, interestingly enough, for Mixu, potentially to get the hedgehogs and other big units like Vulcans through the forest without too many issues. The question is, what will TheoRy think of this? Definitely TheoRy is gonna get the kill on the Bob, but he has the vision. He doesn't see that there is a base here, but there is one. It's just angled to a different position. Mixu definitely knows that the vision camp has been taken. He might be taking good steps to avoid calling on his opponent. They are going to be sharing the resource camps here. And ultimately divided 3-2 in favor of TheoRy. Weavers now pull the bobs, and that's all she wrote. We have a mass of Vulcans, and Weavers can be very scary. It'll take a little bit of time to see what happens here. The Fiends go ahead and scout. They won't see much, but they can provide intelligence to the Guns and the Weavers, who use the Reaper Rush to get up and close to the Hedgehogs. Get a couple of kills there, but not enough. And the Vulcan, of course, is now quickly approaching. A base going up onto this side for TheoRy. TheoRy is just absolutely mass expanding on his side of the map. He doesn't want to leave anything untouched on this fight. He will need all of the resources he can to produce more Weavers, more Hellborns, more Guns, and more of everything, quite honestly. Big jump jet push here by Mixu. The problem is that all of the jump jets have been used. Now they're getting pulled into the Weavers by other Weavers. A big fight happening in the middle of the map. The Vulcans can make short work of the Weavers in numbers, given that they deal more damage the more they should. Another jump jet forward, and the Weavers are going to be destroyed, cut down to size by the Vulcans, the Hedgehogs, and a couple of medtechs that are hanging around with the Lancers, getting so many heals. So now TheoRy, having to remake his army, is going to be in trouble. One of his bases is going to be under attack now. And Mixu is trying as hard as possible to survive this. There was an imp rush somewhere to try and get a few units. A good little flank here with the imps. Gets a kill on a couple of Vulcans. And now it's only just a few Vulcans and the Lancers that are trying to make short work of the Weavers. I don't know if they're quite capable. The Guns are trying to fire onto the Vulcans, but it might not be enough. You can see the Vulcans now dashing forward with the jump jets, getting a few more kills on the Weaver, and the fight will be inconclusive, quite honestly. There is not enough yet to say for sure who is taking the advantage here. It is TheoRy moving forward back into the position that he was already, but he did lose quite a number of units. But TheoRy does have a little bit of an advantage in the sense of his economy. His macro is absolutely powerful at this point. He has control of, I would say, over double the bases that his opponent Mixu does, which is probably going to give him quite a powerful push. Going forward, the imps attack. They don't get much of anything, but they are quite the annoyance for Mixu to try to deal with as he is trying to expand into more bases. He's going to be mined out of resources quite soon for his Luminite as well. So he needs to be mindful of what happens within the next few fights. Weavers here could be very good. They get a lash again onto the Vulcans. Springans now mixed in as well. I would have thought we would see Springans in this game, but here they are. Let's say the Weavers, the Lancers, and the Springans are trying to fire onto the medtechs, try to keep them from healing as quickly, I suppose. But the Vulcans are walking through. They're not having too many issues. But the Weaver does provide a little bit of a bigger deterrence. And those hedgehogs that Mixu had before, they should really be making an appearance again. Because the Springans are going to be mighty annoying. Unless there is something that can deny them for it. And more imps, I believe, has been sent somewhere to be imploded. The Vulcans get pushed. Atlas is still alive, but for how long, we don't know. The Hedgehog is trying his hardest to kill that Springant. But they won't be able to fully kill all of them. Vulcans are also dying here at rapid speed. And now it could be a fight of the Springants. The Hedgehogs have to be produced and deployed all across the map to keep everybody alive. But as you can see, the Springants are also doing short work here of the expansions. And Evac is going around dropping Atlases, getting the expansions of TheoRy, but it doesn't actually kill it. It just deals a lot of damage. They have to pull back, however, because the Springants are advancing. Imps are exploding too. And Sentinels are up in the air. The Sentinels are quite good against Springants. And we're seeing all of the units be used on what is a fantastic 16 plus minute game so far between these two players here in the grand finals. Atlas shots going out. One Atlas gets killed. The Hedgehogs that have been deployed are target firing the Springans, but the problem is that the ground army is advancing. The Weavers are making their way through. The Atlas is trying to fire as much as possible, and with the support of the Vulcans, they're trying to cut down on the Fiends and the Weavers, but those Springans are proving so devastating when it comes to slowing down the attack inside. And there it goes. The Hellborns are pushing forward. This might follow with a GG from Mixu for game number 1 and give TheoRy the advantage once more to be up 2. Because this is a big army, and Mixu says GG. It opens the game with TheoRy going up to this. A beautiful comeback indeed. He was feeling quite pressured, but in the end, it was the incredible macro, being able to destroy those units with the imps, flipping over the control of the map, getting a base there. Very good play by TheoRy. I will be back in like a minute. I'm gonna grab some water and I'll be right back. Don't worry, we're not gonna miss out on the next game. All right, I'm back. And we're gonna see what our next map will be in just a moment. Oh, thank you so much, Sir Ed. So Sir Ed, oh shit. Sir Ed, thank you so much for the $400. Oh my god. So we're going to Secluded for our second map, and Theory, thank you so much for the donation. I'm gonna have to change the split again, because now that means now that means I pay the top 16, so that is gonna be quite fine. The top 16 are all gonna get prizes. For Liquipedia, I think, I mean, I'm gonna talk with the other contributors. I don't know if they want to bump it to A tier if it has $800, but seriously, 400 is more than enough for everybody. You don't have to donate more. Just saying, it will probably not get bumped up, but I'm sure like the players will appreciate it. I certainly appreciate it greatly, man. But you don't have to donate more. Please don't donate more. That's more than enough gratitude. Thank you so much for all of your support, man. Here as well with being a subscriber and all. I'm not gonna ask you for more money. But yeah, we're going into we're going into game number 2 in what is now a pretty big a pretty big prize pool of a total of $800 that is gonna get split among all 16 players. But thank you so much, Sired. Much appreciated. Seriously. Only a little pressure, yeah. The players were like, "Oh, okay, now it's a lot of money." So, again, thank you so much. It makes me really happy to be able to give these players the opportunity to put themselves out there and get a little cash for it. As we're jumping into game number 2, you are not thinking that the score is wrong. We are indeed on a tour series, and I have to switch the players around, so you'll have to give me a moment here. So we have this, and update this one. Now we'll update the score as well. So we have Mixu on the lower left side of the map. We're on Secluded Grove. He lost game number 1. He's gonna be technically the host for the next game. Oh no, it is actually TheoRy, and so I did the wrong switch. You see that that's something that can happen and you need to be mindful for. So there we go. So that and that. And now we're right. So we have TheoRy. Apologies. We have TheoRy on the lower left, and we have Mixu on the upper right. Of course, TheoRy is right now sitting pretty at 2 games won. He has to win what's effectively a best of 5 series. So this is match point for this boy. On the other side, you have Mixu, who actually has to win. Well, it's not match point, but he has to win, Mixu, a full 4 games back to back to back if he wants to do this, because TheoRy only needs 2 more games. He has a 1 map advantage from being the upper side player. So of course, a lot of pressure on Mixu to win this. We'll have to see what ends up happening here, how things shake up. So we'll see how they decide to resolve this. And so we have the Shrine expansion going for the side of TheoRy, the Command Post expansion for the side of Mixu, who once again not going for the barracks first. He decides to expand. He's going to take it easy going. Both conclaves going up on the side of TheoRy, including a meat farm on the ramp. So he wants to have this ramp fully controlled. And it makes sense given that it is going to be a big fight here to try and get the speed camp, the other control camps. The dogs here are claiming the little... There are some little plants around the map to get extra resources. You can see that's exactly what he's doing. Oh, and he spots 2 imps here from TheoRy. They were probably there to spot or get the Shoutstone down here, if that was the plan, but instead it is for a 3rd to go up. So both players, well, actually just TheoRy, going for a very quick expansion. The idea being that you're going to have a lot of resources to get into that middle of the game, that 4, 5, 7 minute mark where you're dropping down Doombringers all of the time. On the other side, Mixu, 2 barracks, Biokinetics Lab, is going to start to produce Lancers. And we're gonna see the strategy again, where your Lancers go into the health camp, they attack the health camp, they get the bonus, and they begin that slow grinding attack against your opponent, where you are essentially just attacking with your healthy Lancers, pulling back, healing the ones that are damaged, and keeping the ones that are healthy in the middle of the fight. A trench warfare approach to strategy games, if you will. As now the body of Lancers is going to be pushing forward. Probably does not want to get the Shroudstone just yet, as getting the camp too early may mean that you need to fight a stronger camp later. It's better to get it as soon as you are starting to have a big fight here. So going for the resource camp instead. I'm gonna get a few more resources from it, while still producing more and more Lancers out into the field. Another barracks going down. So it is gonna be primarily a body of Lancers that is gonna be pushing into TheoRy for game number 3 here. And we'll see how things continue. Next resource camp to be taken. And the Fiends a little bit stunned at the fact that, hey, where is my resource camp? There's supposed to be one here. And now they find the Lancers. Are they going to be able to steal it? I think they were not able to steal it. And 2 of the Fiends will go down in the process as well. But now TheoRy most definitely knows that that the Lancers are here and that they're going to be causing problems. So now the health camp is getting taken. Of course, that means that even more units are going to be able to sustain this going forward. And you can see some of the mobs already pushing to get the command post up here. So the Shroudstone is now in danger of falling. And you can see the strategy that I was talking about with get your damaged Lancers to pull back, to be in that healing camp aura, while the rest of your units are forward and engaging your opponents. A Shroudstone on the high ground is a very good idea here to deny this area for the Lancer for too long, but the Gaunts are gonna die anyway. One of the Lancers does go down, which is not ideal. You really do want to try to keep all of your Lancers alive. They get experience, they get better and better the more they fight, but they need to stay alive to be able to do it. And there we see one veteran C go up. It is now time for the Brute, and it'll actually get a kill on a Lancer right as it's falling back. The Lancers did their job. They are disrupting this third, but they have to be careful. There is a Shroudstone, another kill on the Lancer, and those are some much bigger losses at this point. Much bigger than before, at least. So it's now high time for Mixu and TheoRy to decide what their next step is going to be. The Doombringer will probably try to pick up either a couple of imps to drop into the center here, start constructing that shrine, or a couple of Gaunts as well. So a Weaver gets pulled onto it, gets a good hits in. And again, the Weaver has so much health that it becomes a lot more difficult for the Lancers to properly deal with it. But they are hitting it hard, and the health camp is still up. So those Lancers are going to be able to retreat and heal back up from this one. The Shroudstone is being quite a problem, but Mixu seems to be in quite a bit of control. He does have a number of Lancers damaged, so he needs to be careful. There is a point in which TheoRy might become more comfortable having a big engagement before he can retreat into the heal camp. Oh, and those are some really beautiful pulls there with the Lash to grab the weak ones, bring them back to the Weaver, and make sure that those Lancers can't get away. But the problem is that the Gaunts are now dying too, and Veteran C is getting pulled up. The Doombringer could go down here. He has to be careful. It's on very low health, literally 3 health for that Doombringer. It could be killed by the Exos very, very quickly. Imp Explosion is massive. It kills 4 Lancers. Holy hell. Oh my goodness, with that, TheoRy absolutely denies Mixu the pleasure of continuing this little aggression on the third. He's just gonna stay put. He doesn't have the units anymore to attack here on the third, and Shroudstones are now going down. The momentum has completely shifted, and it means that Mixu has to pull back. He has to lower the tempo of the fight. He is building a good little base here in the middle that is going to be very effective, putting even more and more units out into the field. You can see the amount of barracks that are out here. It is going to be a massive Exo and Lancer mass, and for his side, TheoRy is kind of having to play from the corner. He is dodging and doing all he can, but ultimately it'll be a strong fight here. More imp drops coming. That is a big mass of units that gets hit, but it won't be enough to call it here. Instead, the drop, although successful, it will need to be pulled off as the advance of the Lancers continues on the other side. And TheoRy is having to fight on so many different places. He's having to think about where he wants to drop his imps. He's having to think about his Doombringers, his Guns, his Brutes, and a mass of Weavers as well. The problem is that now a number of Exos and Lancers are approaching, and Mixu has a big army and has a big economy to sustain it. So what will TheoRy do? He cannot split his units as much as he would like, because that would risk a bad fight. Effigy goes up and immediately goes down. Mixu says none of that. The Weavers are not hitting the units, but without any further support, and with the Weavers aiming at the defended Exo, that'll change, and that's a lot of imps that ended up getting thrown out. Didn't hit their mark. And we'll be now going through it. This is looking more and more dire for the side of TheoRy, as there is now a mass of Exos and Lancers, many of which have veterancy, that are quickly approaching his base. The imps did their best, but the Exos are right here. They are well and evenly split. They're not messing themselves up. There is an opportunity here for those imps to get a kill, but not quite. They do damage them very, very much. Infest is gonna go down, and it's worth remembering that Infest itself deals 10% of life as damage over time, 1% of life for a total of 10% overall. So getting units infested is a good idea in general, as it'll keep their health down overall. But TheoRy, he will be feeling the pressure right at this moment. The heal camp is gonna get taken again, and this time there are a lot more units that can make use of it. One of the Lancers, poor little guy, dies to it, but now the Exos are gonna heal up. The Lancers are gonna heal up. There's gonna be another attack onto the third, and TheoRy is just having to think about what could he do here. It's not gonna be easy to break through it, but at the same time, TheoRy doesn't have the massive units to fully protect himself, and with the amount of barracks that we saw Mixu having, it'll only be a matter of time before he can rebuild and get a bigger army. But the explosions, oh my god, I missed it, but massive explosion kills at least 5 or 4 of the Exos. That'll buy him even more time. Another wave of imps approaching, gets 3 kills, I believe, on Lancer, a couple of Exos, but they'll get away just in time. And these little imps, the main thing is that losing more and more imps could be very problematic if he's not able to replenish them in time, and just 3 bases and trying to do as much as he can. Hellborns are now into the field. A Shroudstone manifestation as well. More imps that are chasing down. They get a couple of the Lancers, but not much else. And now, another big push. It is going to be GG from TheoRy. It is going to be Mixu putting up at least 1 game into this series. It is 2-1 for the players right now. Oh my goodness, and the price pool continues to grow. It's now up to $811. And it seems like we're going to be going to Broken Crown next. Let's go ahead and do this. And I mean, and I'm gonna have to pull the spreadsheet that I have for the new breakdown on the prize pool in a second. And we'll see how much money they are actually getting now in just a second. And so we'll head. Yes, I've told them about the updated prize pool, so it seems like Mixu is like, oh, okay, I really want to win now. But yes, they are absolutely aware of it. And I'll grab the code and we'll get into the next game right away. And it seems like they were waiting for me, so that's good. So it is now $200 for whoever wins today. A very big prize for everybody. And we're gonna see what the result is going to be for game number 3. Remember that the player on the upper side of the bracket has a 1 map advantage, so that is why the scores are the way they are. So we are in Broken Crown for game number 3, and we have on the bottom left once again Aftermath TheoRy, who is going up against Mixu on the top right, playing as the Vanguard. It seems like we're gonna get a repeat of the idea that TheoRy had for his Broken Crown. It was the map that he won, so definitely if he can repeat the action, it is gonna be a huge turn of events for him. He'll definitely love that. And we'll see then what happens here, what little changes Mixu can do between game 1 and game 3 to turn up the pressure against his opponent. And of course, he has to be mindful of the map advantage. He has to be mindful of the fact that Broken Crown, he lost the last time he was here. Change the mental, get ready to defend, protect, attack. We have a meat farm going up. It seems like we have an item vault, a conclave. Gonna be grabbing a couple of the resource camps now on the side of TheoRy with a brute and a gaunt, a very classic combination for this particular reason. And of course, we're gonna be going to the hedgehogs. We're getting a mech bay up. The barracks will be salvaged in just a moment, and then we'll begin a full-on aggression. The brute is fairly low health. Oh, I believe, I don't know who actually got the resource, but it might have been Mixu. Great little look at this. Fantastic little surround by TheoRy. He got the Lancer surrounded with only 3 units. Only 3 fiends to surround Lancer. What a wonderful little display of skill there to be able to do that. Very good, very good. So now the mech bay will be coming out with more and more hedgehogs. This is an opportunity for TheoRy to decide what he wants to do next. Obviously, Doomrigger drops are going to be in a little bit of a premium, to say the least, to try and get those going. But he's going to continue to creep around the map, get the speed camps, get all of the other camps that are around. Vision camp on the lower side as well. And now the speed camp taken. He is gonna lose his own resource camp, it seems, unfortunately. but that is a price that he seems more than willing to pay for that. Reinforcement getting caught off here and losing one of the guns to it. It's not really ideal. And a second hedgehog now. Oh, but the speed camp plus the speed that the fiends already have makes them very, very deadly. More hedgehogs getting produced at the moment. No other buildings. Mixu should be getting ready to strike with those hedgehogs. And there is, of course, the constant threat of a Doombringer drop happening within the next 3 minutes. Gonna get the health camp going. Vision camp taken by the side of TheoRy, and the speed camp is next. So a lot of resources, enough resources to equate to an expansion paid for this very moment, and another mech bay being constructed on the lower ground right here. So now with 4 hedgehogs, what can you do with 4 hedgehogs, Mixu? What surprise do you have in store for these hedgehogs? So they're gonna start out by destroying one of the shroud stones. Great little pick. They do have an open way into the high ground, but unfortunately the fiends that are coming back push them out just enough, buying enough time for the bulk of the army, the guns, the brutes, to get here. They're gonna get caught in the crossfire, not where you want to be. Scout will go down, become a fiend. Maybe another hedgehog will too, but it seems like they are gonna be able to escape almost unscathed. One scout and one hedgehog will take a loss at this point, but there is another hedgehog in the way, and now the hedgehogs can easily micro to destroy the fiends. Now that they're closer to the base, now that their boosters have recharged. The cut through happening now for TheoRy to go ahead and expand onto that third base. Greater Shrine is up, which means we will be getting a Doombringer drop incoming. So Doombringer drop is gonna deny the third for just a few seconds. They were overcharged, so they won't be able to do much, but now the hedgehogs, they are right here, and they're gonna be able to deny the drop itself. Gonna force the Doombringer back into his own base before attempting to do it all over again. Going out, getting into the main base, dropping some flaming imps, and trying to build an advantage from there. The hedgehogs are here in the middle of the map. They are getting attacked by one of the resource camps at the moment, so this could be a good steal on the resource camp. Splits at 50-50. Now the hedgehogs, they want to get that Doombringer out of the way as quickly as possible, but it's going to be very complicated to do it. Vision camp refreshed now, which means either player can take that, and the one at the top will be as well in a little over a minute. Resource camp taken, Repair-O-Matic doing his job. And now it's up to TheoRy to see what or how he can dislodge the map advantage that Mixu has gained. Last time we saw it, it was thanks to a good number of imps getting in on the action and taking the momentum for his side. This time around, however, I'm gonna have to see what he's able to put onto the table. Fiends attacking the hedgehogs with a couple of guns moving in. Unfortunately, that Lancer could be very deadly. If the focus fire is not correct, all of the hedgehogs are going to get their kills here. And a Weaver does get a couple of kills, but not much more than that. Barracks now being added, getting more Lancers, more hedgehogs, building out his army on 3 bases. Meanwhile, TheoRy is on 4. And we'll have to see soon enough if he's gonna decide to go up to a 5th, either on the low ground or perhaps up here. The main problem with trying to go up here is that he will need to take a vision camp for it, just to be as sure as possible that he's not gonna be throwing his imps away into a needless fight. The other option is to take this vision camp and take that one. And he might decide to do it, given that his Doombringer is also taking that route. A little scouting group on the middle of the map. Here comes a drop with the Gaunt and the Imps. The Imps get a good number of kills onto the Bobs. Shots fired from the Hedgehog to the Doombringer. But that is just enough what TheoRy wanted. He now can move his big army, a good number of imps now, here, ready to explode. Good hits on the Hedgehogs. Those could be deadly with the Weavers there. The command post gets destroyed. So that expansion that Mixu likes so much, the Diamond expansion, is completely gone at this point. Guns are fighting here, pushing Mixu into his base. This could be bad, but we've seen Mixu survive this. We've seen him be able to return from this type of attack. The Biokinetics Lab and the Habitat will go down. There is an Atlas and a number of Hedgehogs waiting on the sides for their moment of action here, which could be very soon. The Atlases are pushing forward. There are Lancers also pushing forward. Weaver snipes one of the Atlases and gets the second one. It will get shielded with the Shields Up ability from the Vanguard. But it is getting pulled so back. So back into the fight. The Atlas is not going to be able to do anything here from so far away. Meanwhile, the Weavers are tanking the damage at the front. And there is the Doombringer there to provide white health. And now just going to go forward and forward. And that is Mixu GGing out of Broken Crown. It is giving us a game number 4. As we have TheoRy go up 3-1 here. What a matchup. Very well done. We're going to be going to Secluded next, by the way. Very, very good stuff. As the prize pool continues to grow, it's now on $812. Thank you so much, everybody who's jumping in, claiming the coupons, doing all of that fun stuff. It is getting more and more cash money into the hands of the players. So all top 16 players will now receive a little prize for their efforts. Even the ones on the top 16, they're getting $8.12 from all of your support. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and update the matches here as well. We're going to save the progress on this one. So, of course, once again, if you're watching and you want to support the players, you can go to the Macherino and claim the coupons, donate if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. And all of it will make its way into the players' pockets. 100% of it. And they've been, the reason that there is a Macherino, and you might think, oh, it's just 16 players, why the Macherino? Well, the main reason is that they've been playing for a while. The Alpha Navigators Cup is a weekly tournament, and one of the things that I've done is, you know, the weekly cups don't have a prize pool themselves, but they've been playing for so many weeks and so many great matches by these players, and you can see it in the season standings. So I wanted to reward the players with something. I cannot put the money myself as I am unemployed at the moment. But I wanted to give the players something in return so that they could have a good time. And this is definitely fantastic for them. I'm very happy that they get to enjoy a little bit of cash prizes for their Stormgate accolades. They definitely deserve it for how well they're playing today. gonna give them a second. The players also want a little break. I'm gonna throw you all into the bracket view for a moment, just so that you can see the bracket and be there. And we'll get into the game in just a few minutes right here. It seems like they are also changing places, with TheoRy taking not the host side, so I'll update that one. And we'll update the score as well. So yeah, Mixu called for a short little break, and he's absolutely right to take it. It is match point now for our friend TheoRy. So he could be on to winning over $200 now if he wins the next match. We'll have to see if that materializes. It could very well materialize going into this. All right, so we're going into the game. So I'm going to be switching the screens back. Hope you're all ready for game number 5 on this best of 7 series. The scores look that way because TheoRy has a map 1 advantage over his opponents. So this is match point for TheoRy, and it could be Mixu trying to claw it back here on Secluded Grove. Mixu is going to be starting on the bottom left of the map, while TheoRy is up here on the top right. So we're heading there. And we'll see if Mixu decides to do the same strategy. It has been working out for Secluded. So far, I believe he's been able to win his Secluded game, so he must be feeling pretty good about it. But this is a big opportunity for TheoRy to get this win, get the map, and continue on forward. Let's see then what each player decides to do. A conclave is going up on the side of TheoRy, and a quick expansion for our friend Mixu. Up goes the barracks, and soon enough, up will go the biokinetics lab to continue building more scouts or potentially a mech bay to begin working on those hedgehogs. The expansion goes down for the side of TheoRy. It won't be denied in any way, along with the item vault up there. So Mixu knows that there are 2 gaunts out there in the map. He has the barracks going through it. Now the question is, can he deny the speed camp farming here? A meat farm could be killed. At the very least, it will be damaged by the time it's finished. And the fell hog could also die if not well attended. But there are a couple of fiends going now. in the speed camp. And indeed, now the scout job is done. He has to pull back. TheoRy will get the full fiend count going. Find out about the dogs, and fortunately, well, it will get hit by the Lancer, and one of the fiends is very likely to go down in here. That Lancer is very low health now. The 3 guns are doing good work, and the bouncing axes are again with 3 fiends around. What a play by TheoRy. Every time he's able to do it, it's a massive advantage for him in the early game. It buys him even just a couple of more seconds that his opponent doesn't have a bunch of Lancers out in the field. But of course, there's no longer going to be the case. 2 barracks. We'll see the same strategy of getting the heal camp and continuing on from there. But it seems like TheoRy has wisen up to this. He's going to decide to clean up the health camp himself and make use of it on his own territory for now. Lancers coming through now. The heal camp will not be up as long this time around compared to last one. Fiends again splitting the units. They want to try to get a good full surround, but because there are more Lancers, it is much harder to do. They will still get pushed back, but it's not going to be perfect. TheoRy decides better than to try and confront a big mass of Lancers right away. We'll pull back into the health camp, play it more defensively this time. Biokinetic lab is hard at work, potentially on the kinetic redirection, and there is a big engagement now. Now here's the problem. The one who has the health camp advantage seems to be Mixu. He positioned his little Lancers in the perfect place to protect that. One of the Lancers will go down, however, to the Fiends. And now there is a fight here coming on that TheoRy doesn't quite like. He will grab his guns and move forward from there. And the Lancers are just around here. They are going to have to walk all the way back as a Doombringer drop seems on the table for the side of TheoRy. So he's going to grab the Vision Camp first. Is he? He is. Good. Now we'll move on to the next few bases. He has perfect vision of what's happening here. But Mixu is going to spot it. And so TheoRy decides against it and sees that there is a much nicer prize waiting for him at the 4th base. A handful of bobs that cannot be overcharged because the base is not ready. Now they could be, but I don't think Mixu is going to give it the time of day. He is rather going to stop it here. The drop is not entirely successful. It does get a number of bobs killed, but at the end of the day, the base will go up. And there is not enough on that gun drop to really deny it any further. The Lancers are right there waiting for the opportunity to strike. A little drop, trying to get a few fins in, seeing what he can do. Grabbing a resource camp next. He could go for the speed camp on the other side of the forest here to get a few more fiends out of there and try to harass this base going next. You can see that the Exos and Lancers are gathering together over on this side. This could be a good opportunity for TheoRy to try and clean that out, but it doesn't seem like he will. Instead, he goes for the true drop against the Lancers and now the overcharged Bobs. He won't get a lot of damage done, so he will need to retreat. Neither player has yet taken that middle base either. So it is now on TheoRy's side of the map that he'll need to decide what he wants to do. He was working on 2 bases up until now, but going up to 3 bases, well, that'll make it a little bit more problematic. The heal camp is about to be spent, So Mixu could decide to go and take it and continue his harassment, and it seems like that's exactly what he's thinking here. And I wouldn't be surprised if TheoRy is well aware of that and wanting to deny it eventually. So that is the vision camp. He is gonna see some movement going on to that side, but not a lot. Healing up with a scout near the Sharpstone Tower. He's gonna trigger the Sharpstone Tower. Now the army of TheoRy might be able to sandwich that of Mixu, but Mixu, good heads up play here, is making sure that he doesn't get surrounded. It actually surrounds one of the brutes onto that area. Sharpstone Manifestation went down to sustain the third, and imps are trying to attack, but they are not gonna get too far. And now we're in that situation that we saw the other game, where Mixu won on Secluded Grove, making use of that healing camp. And if it wasn't for some very powerful imp plays that came through near the end of that matchup, Mixu would have been able to continue to push forward against the Weaver and against the Guns. At this point, it seems like he is pushing forward very, very strong-headed. Many of the Lancers are going down, though. However, oh, the Imps! The Imps clean out the Exos. And once again, it is now on Mixu to try and survive this. So many units defeated here. And the healing camp is not going to be enough to sustain it. Getting now the middle, though, is a good business for Mixu. He is starting to mine this center area quite strongly. 11 at 9. He wants all of those Luminite and all of that Therium right there in the middle. Continually to harass this side of the map. The Hellborn is, however, quite a disturbance and annoyance here, because all of your units are fairly low health, and those Hellborn shots with their shotgun spread after the first hit can be very, very deadly. Expansion going down for TheoRy as Mixu heals up his units and readies himself for another attack here. Doombringer drop is not that powerful here. I believe there might have been imps or perhaps some other types of units that were there, but we didn't quite catch it, and it didn't seem like it made a big result here. Sharpstone Manifestation is going to get taken down by the Exos and the Lancers. And now the Doombringer, oh, the Doombringer dies right as it is coming back to base. Now an Infest is going to hit, but it will miss the Exos. The Lancers are moving forward, killing the Hellborn. This is a good position for Mixu, but he has to be careful about the Imps. Good split. Another wave of Imps is trying to get here. He gets a number of Exos, but it's actually not as bad as it could have been. Those were a lot of Imps, 6 Imps in totals, committed to try and protect this area. The Mixu must be feeling quite good about himself. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 bases going at it in full, and he has a number of barracks, 5 barracks. Oh, putting out Lancers and Marines with another barracks there right in the middle, and they're all throwing out as many units as possible. More aims committed to try and kill this biomass that is quickly approaching. Here's the Lancers again, and there could be a flanking opportunity for the Imps. So Mixu has to be mindful here. Here they come with the Imps. Big splits, separating the army. Great splits. Mixu absolutely a masterclass of making sure that his units don't get caught into those Imps, except for that little one. But you know what? It is fine. He does get a good amount of attack here, and you can see his units are going back and forth, healing and attacking constantly. Just constant aggression. The Weaver does get a kill, and it is hurting. Now with a couple of fiends out there in the map, this fight is going to subdue again. But you have to realize that this is looking quite scary for TheoRy. TheoRy is on 3 bases, make it 4 now. But his opponent Mixu actually has the middle base pretty much fully saturated at this point. He has the secret base on a good amount of resources. He is going to be getting a 3rd base here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can consider this a 6th as well. So 6 bases against 4 It's not the type of mathematics that you want to be looking at this point. So Exos are pushing forward. The Hellborns are quite a good idea against this, but they also have to be careful. They are fairly fragile when it comes to a straight up fight. A full infest is gonna go out. He's gonna hit a couple of the Exos, but the Shroud Manifestation is gonna be the thing that is gonna be making the most damage. One Hellborn is alive, and it's actually kicking ass right now, throwing a good amount of hatred into the mix. One of the Exos receives a shield, and they'll be pulling back from this. But again, more and more resource committed from both sides. And the thing is that the more that Mixu is able to get TheoRy to spend on just defending this side of the base, the less Mixu has to worry about his opponent getting units into his base. And now this is very interesting. There are a bunch of little imps all going through and grabbing into that base, and nobody's gonna see them, I don't think. So it seems like TheoRy is finally gonna get his 5th base up. This would be a good opportunity for TheoRy, for Mixu to try and grab this one, but it seems like TheoRy has it with a little bit more sneakiness, cuts through and gets that 6th base up. So now, if this continues, TheoRy could be looking at a 6 base versus 6 base fight, and maybe he'll be able to win it that way, which again, he is on match point. He could be winning the tournament right here, but we'll have to see. More imps are getting flamed. All good splits, but unfortunately, a number of them will get killed just on that particular fight, and the Hellborns are doing excellent damage to make sure that the Exos get swiped out. And Full is now going truly forward. Sentry Post is coming up. A bunch of imps are just sitting here around the Therium, and now they're gonna start to mine the Therium out. But they'll also see that there is a Sentry Post going. This other expansion is also gonna go up a little bit less disturbed, and the third is still having to get constructed. It got destroyed at some point, it seems. It just this natural third for TheoRy has not been at peace for a very long time. We've seen minute after minute that this has been harassed and harassed and harassed, and it seems like finally TheoRy is feeling good enough about pushing forward here. An Atlas is here to try and attack, but he's not gonna get good hits. Instead, it's gonna be Mixu having to retreat from this engagement. There are a bunch of mobs here, but I don't think they're gonna be able to do anything like build a base right there yet. And the army of Mixu is going to survive, but it's also greatly diminished from its form before. So can Mixu now build up an army that is strong enough to not only overcome the first army from TheoRy, but also his second? You have to keep in mind that with the charges, it is entirely possible that TheoRy will be creating another army right away here. You can see the imps moving around the map. The base that used to be here is no longer here. They're having to engage all across the diagonal on this map. And now it's time to try and take the middle base. It's been up for too long, says TheoRy. He wants to keep it away from the hands of Mixu. But that'll take quite a bit of time, and you can see the Atlas is now firing, getting the brutes killed. But it also is a very rich target. It's gonna take a while for Mixu and for TheoRy to decide who wins here. I think we're on minute 16. A Flay Dragon is now up. The Atlases are gonna get a second shot out. Good damage and damage over time. Infest is now going out against the Atlases. The Flay Dragon is gonna fall, and the evac is right there. TheoRy GG's, and it's gonna be 3-2 with TheoRy taking game 3 or game 4. I'm starting to lose count. Oh no! But we have Mixu on 2, TheoRy on 3. Very, very powerful stuff. Let's go ahead and show the bracket again while we get the next game set up. And we're gonna do Mixu winning 3-2. I believe that's correct, right? Yeah. Oh, and we're going to Jagged Maw. The next one is gonna be Jagged Maw. Ho, ho, ho. This should be quite an interesting development. Very nice, very nice. So we started out, and it's going Mixu Theory, Mixu Theory, Mixu Theory. What a series, eh? We're approaching some very tough matches here. So we have our next lobby ID that we're gonna be joining. And we'll see. This is again match points for TheoRy. If TheoRy wins this match, that'll be it. But we'll have to see if Mixu can claim a victory. If he can, we're going to a game number 7, to a map number 7. It's not actually the 7th map because of the one map advantage, but we're getting there. And let's go ahead and jump into the game right here. So we are on Jagged Maw. We have on the bottom Mixu playing as the Vanguard. He has to win this game again. And he's going to be going up against TheoRy on the upper side, playing as the Infernals. And we are, of course, on the one and only. It could not have been any other map. Jagged Maw. So Jagged Maw is what I always like to call a very silly map. And it is going to be a fantastic little game, potentially at the cider as well. A double conclave going up. And Mixu knows Jagged Maw indeed. With Jagged Maw, with Jagged Maw. It is going to be a very interesting match because, let me tell you, Jagged Maw games either go the way of a 5-minute match where you don't know who's winning until somebody GG's, or they become this absolutely sluggish, absolutely meat-grindy fight to see who is actually gonna win in Jagged Maw. And I love both versions of it. I know that for players is absolutely dreadful. I know that for Malans it is an absolutely dreadful map. But there is something absolutely amazing. You know, just something whimsical about Jagged Maw that always calls to you. And it's not even the siege camps. Like, I fully believe that if you had the siege camps on any other map, it would still be a whimsical map here on Jagged Maw. So we have, of course, a big start for both players as they go with a sentry post on this siege side and a shroud stone on the other. They will both look to get their sieges up and ready to go, while also cutting through the middle. Because you cut through the middle, you get the advantage, you push your siege to the other side of the map, and hopefully you kill your opponent within the first strike. If that doesn't work, then try it again, and again, and again, and again. So now we can see the different strategies for doing this between the Vanguard and Infernal players. The Vanguard players opting for Lancer Scout as well as a couple of Buzzsaw cannons to make sure that they stay nice and put, with 2 Bobs doing what they can here, while the Infernals have a Shroud Stone Tower up there and then get a couple of guns to assist with the damage. But it seems like this is gonna be a siege tower for the side, a siege camp for the side of TheoRy first. We've seen people defend against this before. We've actually seen it in the grand finals, I believe, of EGC. But it requires, oh, and we've seen Probe, I think, defend against it as well. It requires a lot of really good placement for your Lancers. It requires sentry posts. It requires a lot of patience and quite a bit of luck too. So here are the Lancers. They will get attacked. They are trying to get the guns off, but the problem is that if they're not focusing the siege is going to be focusing them. So now the guns are going to come down, and it seems like Mixu will survive the first wave, but you have to be careful. This siege camp is now weakened. So you're going to have the problem of potentially, if this ends up happening, it could be that TheoRy tries to deny that siege camp. The problem is that it might be a little bit too late. The Lancers might be getting the siege camp there. There is a little fiend hidden away here. Honestly, if this were to happen, that would be crazy. If this little fiend gets the siege camp while the siege camp creep is away, TheoRy is watching it. He needs to be careful. If the fiend gets spotted and killed, that'll be it. But this is such a crucial thing to look at. This could be, oh my goodness. He needs to be careful. You don't want to show that you have your fiend there. Oh my god, this could be nasty. He's gonna see it. He's ready. He did it! Oh my goodness! What a steal! He's gonna push with it! Oh my god, TheoRy got the sneaky siege tower. Oh my god. It is now the time, TheoRy. He's gonna be pushing with the siege tower. The MVP fiend. The sneaky bastard. Hanging out. Oh my goodness. And this is a massive push too. I mean, it might be defended, but oh my goodness. Mixu's gonna be absolutely scared going forward into the future. Any match on Jagged Maw, he's gonna be looking for fiends on every little place. You gotta be careful with all of this. The siege, the brutes are gonna be defending, and the siege tower is gonna remain for quite a while. It's not gonna be dealing damage here to the Lancers or the Bobs, and I mean, honestly, TheoRy is probably feeling quite happy about this. He doesn't have to deal with opposing siege. He managed to destroy a habitat for his opponent. And like, sure, he's still on one base, but maybe the game could develop further, and the other siege camp, his own siege camp, is gonna be up in 40 seconds. Oh my goodness. GG is called. Mixu says goodbye, and we have a champion for the first Alpha Navigators Cup season finals. Congratulations,